Little John is sitting nervously on the last bench, cornered to the right side of the window. As he gazed outside, he noticed the birds on the tree, chirping and squawking with utmost freedom and without any hesitation. He envied their carefree nature and found solace in watching them. How freely, without any hesitation, those birds are speaking to each other. He calms down himself watching those beautiful birds on the branches of that big tree. Suddenly, a female sound strikes into his eardrum. "Hello there. Pay attention in the classroom." The teacher smiles and asks John to introduce himself. He slowly stands up from his seat, looking down at the desk. He knows all eyes are on him. His heart races, and he struggled to find the right words. Just as he was about to speak, the bell is ringing, and the sound can be heard from a distance. Someone taps on his shoulder. He wakes up from his daydream. The lecture is over now. John realized that he had been lost in thoughts the entire time. He looked out of the window with half-opened eyes and saw that it was raining slightly outside. He checked the time and realized that he had to reach home before 1 p.m. He already took half-day for the day. Now he had to leave. With a sense of urgency, John quickly made his way down the steps and paddled his bicycle through the rain. His college was not that far away, and he hoped to reach home on time because he was expecting his friend to come to his house. The day was a special day for him because that day was his birthday. John was a slender boy with smooth, silky straight hair and a dark brown complexion. In class, he was always the odd one. Despite being perceived as the odd one in class, he maintained a decent academic record. His reserved nature led him to be uncommunicative, often keeping to himself and rarely engaging with his classmates. The world revolves around his bedroom, where he devoted the majority of his time, creating a private world that shielded him from the social dynamics of the outside world. He lived with his mother, Gayatri, in Manchester, UK. Gayatri had been married to Kevin Thomas, a software engineer. She was an orphan who had been adopted by the kind-hearted Sebastian and Bindu Sebastian at the tender age of 6. She got married at the age of 25. Their journey took a pivotal turn when, just 2 months after their wedding, the winds of opportunity swept Kevin away to the United Kingdom for a promising job. Meanwhile, Gayatri discovered the delicate secret of new life. She found out she was pregnant. After giving birth, Kevin brought her and their son, John, to the UK. They lived in a small, affordable flat with 2 BHK. Their life was relatively normal and happy, but she often felt lonely in the strange city with only a small room, a hall, and a kitchen. She kept their home clean and took good care of John. However, things didn't always go smoothly. Kevin was more of a visitor to the house than a husband and father, spending most of his time at work or outside. One day, John fell very ill, and Gayatri had to call her husband to ask him to take half a day off from work. She is pleading with Kevin to understand that their child is not well. She is concerned and emotional as she tries to convey the urgency of the situation. Gayatri: Kevin, try to understand. He is not well. Kevin, on the other hand, appears to be distracted and dismissive as he continues with his call while speaking to someone in the office. "Are you even listening?" says Gayatri. Gayatri's eyes fill with tears as she implores him to listen to her. However, Kevin seems to belittle her concerns and suggests that it's just a common illness that can be treated at a nearby hospital. He even goes so far as to ask if he needs to hold her hand through it all. She is taken aback by his lack of empathy and is left speechless for 2 seconds before ending the call in frustration and anger. Gayatri took John to the hospital. Back from the hospital, they both were in a taxi. John was not well, and he was laying his head on his mother's lap. His mother's hands were on his head, and it felt good relief, and he fell asleep. She was looking out from the car window. Leaning back to the seat, her thoughts were about her husband's. He has changed. Over the past year, he is not a responsible or caring person anymore. The car stops at the signal. Thinking all about this, Gayatri feels deeply sad and alone. Her eyes see a family with 2 little children laughing and eating food in a restaurant. Right back to them, she sees her husband and a lady sitting closer to each other. The car takes off, and she pushes her head outside the window and confirms it. Yes, it's him. She falls back to her seat and cries. John wakes up and sees his mother with wet eyes. John, what happened, Mom? She looks at him and hugs and cries. Poor John doesn't know what's happening to his mom, his little eyes filled with tears. It was a dark night when Gayatri's husband arrived home, much later than usual. John had already gone to bed, and she sat quietly on the couch, waiting anxiously for her husband's return. Her eyes were red, a clear sign of the emotion she was feeling. As soon as her husband entered the house, she caught his attention and he saw her sitting. He took off his shoes and approached her, trying to gauge her mood. I have told you, don't wait for me, Gayatri. Did you cheat on me, Kevin? Kevin, with a forced laugh. What? Are you kidding me? Why would I need to cheat you? Kevin flashes her a convincing smile. Well, I guess you've been so stressed and am also going through tensions. I think you must go to India and stay with them. She stood up and steps closer, lowering her voice so nobody else hears. Kevin, I found you and a lady sitting in a restaurant. I was begging for you to come with us. And you are enjoying with other lady? Now don't tell me it's your office mate or friend. The way you both were sharing the seats was evident. Kevin, surprised and a little defensive. What were you doing snooping on me? For God's sake, leave me alone. I'm fed up with you already. She walked inside the room and came up with an old dairy. She lifts it in front of him, biting her teeth. Now tell me you are not lying to me, says Gayatri. At this point, Kevin knew it was all over. He got aggressive and shouted at her. Kevin, wait, stop. Shut your mouth and give me that damn dairy. The sight of Kevin made her feel like she was facing a complete stranger. Despite her shock, she refused to be silenced and stood her ground. Tears rolling down her face, she trembled with rage. John was awakened by their commotion and witnessed their argument. Kevin, I was forced to marry you, and I went too far. I can't take this anymore. It's over, Gayatri. Gayatri points a finger at John. How can you do this to him? Kevin, I doubt. He even doesn't look like me. Tell me, does he? Ha, she was silent. Kevin grabbed her neck and slapped her face. Kevin, I knew it already. I didn't say anything because I don't care about your life. Get lost. Gayatri. It's my fault and it's a curse on me. What you think? Did I marry you by my wish? Kevin, I don't care. I need divorce. In that moment, Kevin walks out of the room, leaving John behind in tears and fear. But amidst the chaos, she steps forward and embraces John in a heartfelt hug, sharing her pain and comforting John. From there, her life worsened. She got beaten and he asked divorce. He left the house for days and their life was tough. John was witnessing everything. When John was at the age of 5, his father just disappeared, leaving behind both John and his mother to the open world. She struggled a lot for a living and did so many works, including as a bar attendant in a nearby town. She was in depression and was not able to take care of her son. Poor little John's life was almost spent in daycare. These things were affecting John's life and mental state. Gayathri's life took a dark turn after she started job at bar. She met all sorts of people there, but unfortunately, many of them were bad influencers. Her life spiraled out of control as she started to live a new lifestyle. From there, she slowly got addicted to drugs. Life was going in a very bad way. She used to beat John for any small mistakes. At the bar, she met a man named Alex, a black African-American man. He was so talkative and active person and a regular customer. She used to get good tips from him for her services. Eventually, they became friends. Alex used to drop Gayathri home, and gradually, he became like a family member because he was so kind and caring to her and her son. 5 months passed, and Alex proposes Gayathri, and she was very quick to replace. Their relationship was good at first. She was happy and looking forward to a good and peaceful life with Alex. Alex used to take care of John when she was not at home. And it was so relief for her because she had to go to work and Alex did his work from home. Gayathri was not so emotionally expressive or affectionate towards John at this point. John became more and more of an introvert and a sociopath. He never expressed his feelings or thoughts. Time passed. Days and months passed. Almost 2 years passed. One day, Gayathri went out. Alex was at home and John was at school. She called Alex and informed him that she might be coming home late today. That day became a heavy rainy day, so she thought of going back home. She reached home. The door was not locked. It seemed like John had come home and his shoes were outside. She gets inside and puts her bag on the table. The TV is on at high volume. She calls for John and Alex. No one is answering, and then she walks to the bedroom. The door is slightly open, so she looks through it. She was shocked and frozen. No mother shall see what she was watching. Alex was sexually molesting John. She ran to the kitchen and grabbed a knife and sprinted back to the room with her anger, sorrow, hate, frustration, depression, all that went through her. Hand to the knife, Alex got stabbed from behind. With a shock, Alex stood up and saw Gayathri with a knife in her hand. He said nothing and rushed outside. John was crying. Poor little John was threatened not to tell his mother or else he will kill both of them. She fell on her knees and hugged John tightly and cried, "God, take my cured life and bear this child." Later, Alex was arrested. He had a history of drug dealing and child molesting cases. Never make life decisions when you are going through depression. Always make good friends, talk to them, be with them, choose to live with your mother and father, and talk to a psychologist. If someone leaves you, accept it and move on. Depression is not just a word, it's the brain's mechanism to get deep rest from everything, a way to say it cannot take it anymore. After 1 month, Gayathri and John came back to India. They lived with her adopted mother and father. After 2 years, her father expired. Gayathri, John, and her mother are living together. She was not recovered from the trauma as well as John. She took responsibility and found a job in a call center. Her mental state was not well. She used to take medicine for depression. John was taken care of by his grandmother, Bindu Sebastian. She loves him. He has gone through a lot, but it seems now quiet and calm. Gayatri never told her mother about her second relationship with Alex. She was afraid and shamed of telling her stupid decision, which made John so in trouble. So many times she thought to tell her mother both, but her guilt pulled her back. To be continued. Please let me know your opinion and comments.